Ruben Amorim. He'll bring that back, the glory days again. Well, to do that, he's got to move a few players on before the glory days come back. We've got big updates tonight on FUTV United TV regarding the Jadon Sancho and Antony situations and stories of them two. An opening for Mr Gyokeres as developments progress further between Arsenal and Benjamin Sesko, now looking likely to be almost a done deal, and here we go on that side of things. There is some news floating around on social media at the moment that might involve a certain Bryan Mbeumo. I'll stay tuned for that in case something does break, but we want to get your comments in the live section as well. I'm starting with Mr Gyokeres tonight, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a great Saturday, not drank too much, and I hope you have drank too much, actually, and just enjoying your day off, because there's not much happening football-wise. No one's really watching the Club World Cup, are there? It's painful, hasn't it? It really has. But hey, look, we're here to bring you the United news, and there is plenty of it, as always. Even though it seems to be quiet in certain areas, Manchester United behind the scenes, it would seem, are doing quite a lot. Ruben Amorim has set demands to the Manchester United board as to when he wants certain players out. A story regarding Garnacho, Sancho and Rashford, and where he wants them players before they come to pre-season. I'll talk about that in a moment, but first of all, that Gyokeres news and where Manchester United are now actually at. And the update isn't from Manchester United's side of things in particular, but it's big because Arsenal now do look like, even though we spoke this morning and said there was no agreement yet with Arsenal and RB Leipzig, talks continue. Sesko has agreed personal terms with Arsenal. We know that is set now. Yeah, they've got a good deal with that, by the way. My God, 130 grand a week wages. How are United not on this sort of shit, man? Honestly, I think we're doing all right with what we're doing. And then they see what other clubs are doing. I'm like, man, can we not get that? I mean, he's younger and he's probably got incentives involved in that as well. So I'm guessing it's probably going to be the same. In terms of, quickly, just the wage structure of Bryan Mbeumo, don't listen to what TalkSport have said regarding that wage. There's a story going around today, $250,000 a week. No. Just no. Simple. But Gyokeres. So, situation on that is, obviously, like I just said, personal terms agreed to Benjamin Sesko. Now, it does look like RB Leipzig, and this is the big key thing in this, RB Leipzig have lowered their initial price to come in line with what Arsenal want to pay. Now, this is the story going around. It's now 59 million. I know it sounds like I'm talking about an Arsenal move here, but this cancels out anybody coming in realistically for Mr Gyokeres and falls into Manchester United's hands again. Ruben Amorim obviously is back in this week into Carrington. That's the rumour going around as well. He obviously would come in early. The managers usually do come in early. But with this, certain demands have come out from Ruben Amorim, or reports have come out so that he wants certain things done by a particular time. The story around him wanting certain players out we'll get onto in a moment. But like we've said many a times before, Manchester United obviously keeping in touch with the Mr Gyokeres situation. Romano said previously 2 days ago, United have never been rejected by Mr Gyokeres. That isn't true. He wants to go to Manchester United if there is no other options for Champions League football. I think there was obviously a conversation going on that we weren't savvy to, which we shouldn't be, in between Ruben Amorim and Mr Gyokeres about he would love to play for him, but in his own personal career, he wants to be playing in the Champions League. But if there's no options there for Champions League, Arsenal seemingly the best option for him, he really does look like he could be on his way to Manchester United now, with, obviously, the situation developing with Sesko. Now, the other side of Mr Gyokeres is Manchester United, obviously, the money. And I don't think this is going to happen very quickly. And if we get the all clear and Gyokeres says yes to United, this might go on to Saga Part 2. Because Manchester United don't want to pay what Sporting have put on the table at the moment. The story from Mr Gyokeres' side is him and his agent have made their stance very, very clear, and they are not going back to Sporting, like we've discussed before. But what does this do for Manchester United? We just cannot afford to get involved in another saga for the summer. It takes literally every ounce of Manchester United's energy to get a transfer deal done like we are seeing now. Where it is good, still, can we afford to be waiting around for another player for a prolonged period of time? Because I think Gyokeres is going to eclipse both Cunha and Mbeumo put together. I honestly, with the way it is at the moment, with what we're going to be talking about in a second about players leaving Manchester United and what we're doing with them, Mr Gyokeres, we are not going to have the money for. He will be happy to wait, but as long as this goes on, it just gets more and more complicated. And Ruben is wanting answers now. So, you know what? We've actually got a scenario here coming about where Ruben might actually be having his... I'm not going to say he's going to have a fallout, but obviously he wants questions answered. He wants to know what's going on around Manchester United. He wants to know why certain things haven't happened. And obviously he's going to come in and wait for the update to be given to him for the... I'm guessing Victor Gyokeres players leaving, because Victor Gyokeres only comes in when we sell players. And so the story on the top of this, and the story of what's happening with the likes of Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, that alone is the problem that we've got with Victor Gyokeres, obviously, because we need the money and we need the space. A deal for Jadon Sancho would automatically give United the funds to go in and negotiate with Sporting for Victor Gyokeres if he gave us the green light. It may end up working in our favour, where Manchester United get the green light to go for Gyokeres and we've just maybe got rid of one of these players. The story on Antony with Betis is coming up in a moment as well, and what Nicola Shearer has just said. You can see it running across the bottom of your screen. There's a lot going on behind the scenes with Manchester United at the moment. It's not like it's stopped dead. And as I said at the top of the show, we've got that Bryan Mbeumo news, which apparently, I don't know if this is true, there's a few accounts going around with this, that there may be an update coming tonight possibly for Bryan Mbeumo. So once that is done, obviously, I think we start to see what's happening next. We start to see where Manchester United move. Victor Gyokeres is ready, and he will come to Manchester United if Arsenal buy Benjamin Sesko. There is no one else out there. Look, someone could come out of the pack, like a Liverpool or a Chelsea, and go, we'll take you. They might get desperate at the end. And this is where United need to then make a decision. Do we go all in and try and get Victor Gyokeres straight away after we sell Mbeumo? Do we take a cut price offer for Jadon Sancho just to get him out the door so we've got room and a little bit of money to actually go and get Victor Gyokeres? And then you've got to wait for Sporting to actually lower their price in all of this. So the one good thing that we've got is Sporting are holding their ground with their valuation, because nobody's going to sign Victor Gyokeres at that price. Nobody. Everybody knows what they're dealing with. Everybody knows they've got a 27-year-old who's got 4 to 5 years max probably at the highest level. And we're talking Champions League level here. And Victor Gyokeres knows it as well. This is his last big contract at any club. So this has to be the perfect fit. And Sporting are the ones holding the key to this for everybody in this transfer window now. They want too much money for him. So it's going to be a waiting game. Other clubs in the Champions League, I feel, will have to go elsewhere and find other targets, because they're not, and no one is going to pay the money that Sporting want for Victor Gyokeres. And this is where United come in. Now, if Arsenal do commit, and this is proof that other clubs are going to start buying other players, it's like, we're not going to pay that much for Gyokeres. This is the Arsenal stance. We're not going to wait around either. We need to get players in and get it done. So you're finding Chelsea have obviously already got a striker in Delap. Juventus are going for Jonathan David on a free transfer. Obviously, Liverpool are probably looking at Isaac and Osimhen at the moment, maybe even Watkins to a certain degree as well. That's another story that has done the rounds as well. And City, I don't think are ever going to be in the market for one. Obviously, we just spoke about Newcastle there, so there's the Premier League teams done, wrapped up. Juventus, like we just said, was another target. They can't afford to bring in Gyokeres. They can't afford Gyokeres' wages, that at the moment, Juventus. So that, again, opens up the avenues for Manchester United. The only club I feel that can really afford Victor Gyokeres is Manchester United. Why? And you're thinking, this is crazy, Adam. Manchester United haven't got Champions League football. Manchester United have got big players on big contracts that are not playing for us right now, that Gyokeres will replace with what he wants and what his transfer fee will be. That literally is Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho is enough for Manchester United to start instalments for PSR on Victor Gyokeres. It works that way. That's where we're at right now. And as many clubs keep on buying their strikers and moving forward with other targets, and Sporting stand their ground with their valuation of Victor Gyokeres, and the standoff between them two, don't expect... I'm going to make a big bet right now, and I'm just going to say this. I think Manchester United don't buy a striker until August. That is my bet with this one. I think they're waiting for Gyokeres. I don't think they feel there is anybody else in the market. Manchester United, I think, are waiting out on Victor Gyokeres now. I don't think they feel there's anybody else with the value and the quality matching that value that they could bring in. I've mentioned Moise Kean, I've mentioned Dusan Vlahovic. These are simple transactions to make happen. Moise Kean has got a buyout clause. Vlahovic is available for 17 million. If United really need a striker, why are they not going for these players? Now, you could argue, obviously, that Manchester United need to sell players first, but if you have made room for a player of the value and quality of Mr Gyokeres with moving one of these players on, why would you go for the lesser option when you know it's not less of a guarantee? You never know about any player coming into Manchester United. They could all flop, but still, why would you go for the lesser? It's not because you want to get a cheaper midfielder. We've already seen Manchester United are ignoring the obvious. If you were struggling for money, you would come by Jonathan David. He's a free transfer. Yes, there's agents' fees. Yes, there's signing on fees and whatnot, and maybe a high wage. But if you haven't got money, why are you not buying Jonathan David? I don't think the values of these players and these cheap deals are really appealing to Manchester United. It's like they've made a decision that we have got our targets, they're of a certain level, and we're going to get them players. Even if we pay more for that player, we're going to go for that one. These are our plans, and this is the type of player we want. They've stuck to the characteristics and profile that they really want, and they've ignored everything else. That, I think we can say, is a safe bet right now, because Manchester United, like we said, there are several options on the table for different players that are very cheap, that are better than what we have got right now, but it's still not enough. United are being delicate. They're being very, very careful with what they do. And again, I always go back to that in my little positive mindset right now as to they're not just going to throw it at anybody. They're not going to fill a space in this squad that they open up with any old body because he's got a cheap deal or a cheap price tag on his head. There are reasons why these players are all leaving their football clubs. Jonathan David is still a baffling one for me. It really is. I'll never get around why Manchester United were never even interested. They might have, but we just haven't heard about it. Jonathan David has kept his cards close to his chest with whatever move he's doing right now. But I can see one of the big European clubs taking him. I could see a Juventus or an Atletico, someone like that coming in for a Jonathan David. And I can see him scoring a hatful of goals in them other divisions. It just doesn't seem like anyone in the Premier League has been keen on him. And that makes you wonder, doesn't it? It does. Like, that is an obvious target right there for a proven European goal scorer, and nobody's going in for him. It is weird. I think United are waiting for Gyokeres and to see how this develops. Because the longer this goes out this summer, the better it is for Manchester United, in my opinion. That is only my opinion. I'm just reading the room, I'm reading the stories, and I'm reading what's happening right now. We know that Ruben has had conversations with him. Romano has said he will go to Manchester United if there is no other Champions League options. Arsenal are buying another striker. That was his main option and his best choice. He wants to go to the Prem. Chelsea have got Delat, but they're looking to spend on a winger also. They do need to move players on to get things done. So again, not really in the ideal position. Obviously, they want to move Nicholas Jackson on. City don't need a striker. Liverpool are looking at Osimhen and possibly Isaac, so they're out of it as well. And quite clearly, Arsenal, like I just said, are in for Benjamin Sesko. So the reality is that nobody is really wanting to pump up anything for Mr Gyokeres at the moment, and other clubs will wait it out. Now, the story going around about Ruben Amorim wanting certain things done, there's also a story about him actually backing Joshua Zirkzee. Now, I'm not saying that Joshua Zirkzee is going to go into the 9 role. What I'm saying is I think he will wait it out in the number 9 role, even if he doesn't get a striker this summer. I think that's what he will do. Because I think he feels like with Mbeumo and with Matheus Cunha, he's got goals anyway. And obviously, you could see a better Rasmus Højlund. It's a big, big, big could. And by the way, on Rasmus Højlund's side of things, I've said this the other day as well, but just so you're updated in case anyone is asking, I've seen a few comments coming in. No Rasmus Højlund move at all. I think we all knew that was going to happen anyway. But Rasmus Højlund is there. You've got Chido there as well. Obviously, you could play Joshua Zirkzee there. Bruno could be a forward as well at some point. But Brian Mbeumo and Cunha are also used to playing at 9 as well at different stages. So, again, I think Ruben wants a rotating system within his 10s. Possibly he might bring that into the number 9 situation as well. But Ruben backing Joshua Zirkzee, and at the club, and a lot of journalists that I know that are in and around Manchester United continuously have got high hopes for Joshua Zirkzee and what they've seen, and his development from that Newcastle bombshell when he got booed off, which was an absolute disgrace. I was at that game, and it was Man United fans booing a player off. It was an absolute shame. It was shameful, it was. But From that moment, Manchester United have been very, very impressed with Joshua Zirkzee and what he has actually accomplished at the club and where he's got to. Yes, he's still not anywhere near what we want him to be, but there are signs and a lot of people at United talking about Joshua Zirkzee actually being a real weapon for Manchester United next season. So again, falling into we will wait with the Victor Gyokeres situation. They're in no panic, Manchester United, with anything. Absolutely no panic at all. Do you know what I mean? Even with when I'm talking about the striker situation right now, the Chelsea side of things, with, for instance, letting Jadon Sancho go back. Are they going to go in for Garnacho? No, they're not. That's another problem for Manchester United. And obviously their main target is a winger, but that means that they're probably not focusing fully on the striker at the moment because they're lapsing. So, and like Romano has said, Chelsea are, and it could happen this week, about to seal a deal for Gittins. Beno Gittins is actually going to be a Chelsea player this week. So they have gone all in and they've got a deal ready with Dortmund. So there goes the Garnacho opportunity for Chelsea. His hopes of staying in the Premier League are disappearing fast. We are all waiting to see what Newcastle do. And if Newcastle come in with their newfound riches, because they have got a possibility to spend a lot more money this summer than last summer because of PSR. This is their turnaround year, it would seem. Maybe they come in. Obviously, we know that they are interested in Marcus Rashford. I've just mentioned the three names there: Garnacho, Sancho and Marcus Rashford. Now, Ruben, according to Marco Alcaraz, who was the one who said this story and brought this up earlier on today, has told Manchester United board that he wants Sancho, Garnacho and Rashford out of the door before they come back for pre-season training. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's like 9 days away. That's not going to happen. And I agree with you. I think Ruben has had this idea in his head. And obviously, he has been told the story by the hierarchy at United. There are big plans there. He has gone away and he's expected Manchester United to do the business. Now, they have done good business. But I think he's going to come back to the reality of this doesn't quite go the way that you want it to. And I mean that by saying that Ruben will find out what Manchester United's history was all about in the transfer window. Like what I've spoken about and what we've been discussing on live shows forever and a day now, the mismanagement of Manchester United always comes back to bite us in the arse. We're 2 years into this plan and we still can't get rid of these players. I don't think Ruben understood the severity of the situation. It's all right having the competent people in working around Manchester United's football structure now. That's great and all good and well, but it still isn't going to change the fact that we did some horrendous deals in the past and nobody has left by the time he gets back later next week. That, I think, is going to be his first little issue. On this report, it has said that he wants to have the perfect environment for new players coming in. He doesn't want any of the headaches in. The big problems are, obviously, as we know, Garnacho, Sancho and Rashford. He doesn't want them anywhere near his Manchester United squad for pre-season. And that's what's being said. You can say that on one side, but then on the other, that's still impossible. He has to deal with these players, and they have to be part of pre-season. And this is what I'm saying. Ruben's coming into thinking that United are going to get this done. I'm sorry, mate. You're going to have to get in line with the rest of us when it comes to that frustration queue of Man United not being able to get things done because of what we've done before. The players rule the roost, and they always will. And this is what I think every single manager has been coming up against every summer. So they'll come in, they'll come back from pre-season, they'll come back from the holidays. Right, the club have got to business here and we're going to move forward. And the same effing players are still sat there in the changing room at Carrington. Yeah, boss, hey, I had a great holiday. Multi-million-pound mansions and cars and yachts and everything. Fantastic, lavish holidays. I'm back. Look at my tan. What are we going to do now? No, I don't like that. And then you go back to square one again. And it is literally impossible. It is impossible to try and fix Manchester United in the short space of time that they have got. The importance of this window was made very clear by what Manchester United accomplished last season. And it was without Antony, Sancho and Rashford. Garnacho caused that problem that he did, and he's been added to that list of problems that United are trying to get past. Casemiro is sat back watching in on this. I said earlier on, Luke Shaw sat back watching this. The same things are happening again. The only players that have left are the ones that have actually ran out of contract and can't hold United ransom with. Victor Lindelof, Christian Eriksen. Not going to mention Johnny Evans, legend. Thank you for the job that he did. But you see what I mean? That these players are just leaving on the free. They're not going to ever give their contracts up. Manchester United have to take a hit. They're going to have to lose a little bit of what they want value-wise. Jadon Sancho right now needs to be sold between 15 and 10 million, and he's gone. That will clear his last payment of the instalments that we owe on him. His wages will be gone. That, I think, is where Manchester United are at. 15 million, I think, with the 5 from what we've had for Chelsea, I think basically clears his debt. That's it. No real profit whatsoever, but his wages are gone, his instalments are gone, and that's near 30 million alone on that. I said earlier on this morning, Manchester United, if they got rid of Casemiro, Sancho, Rashford and Antony, and they took them off the books, they would save 90 million in what it's costing them right now. And he's only one of them players that's actually contributing. 90 million. So you take away 3/4 of that and not contributing for 90 million a year that it costs Manchester United to have them players on the book. And you think them players are going to be busting a gut to try and get out the door and leave? Not a chance. Not a chance. And Ruben's walking back into that. So we can give it the big I am. He can talk the talk. It's going to be impossible to, I think it's going to be impossible to actually get all of them out the door, I feel. I just look at it. Ruben cannot progress with these players in his squad. How Manchester United handle it, I don't know. But, I mean, is there anybody in the chat right now? I'm going to open this up from all of them topics, from Victor Gyokeres to everything that's going on. I feel like there is a lot to talk about there. So before we move on, let's get some thoughts from the comment section in here as well. Give me your questions as well, if you've got any out there as well, everybody. Martin, welcome to the Members Club, my friend. Love that. Let's see now what else we've got here in the chat. There's loads and loads of different... I love this. Just a question, Adam. If we can't sell, how much would it cost us to just pay Sancho and Rashford out of their contract? A lot. Rashford in particular is a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. Sancho, we still owe one more payment on. And obviously his wages on top of that. Sancho right now is costing Manchester United more than anybody because we're not using him. It's 2 years without featuring now for Jadon Sancho. 3 different bleeding clubs. He's an absolute embarrassment for Manchester United. This is where, like, beforehand, it's like you look at Manchester United and you look at some of the situations that have happened in the last couple of years. I think we've done good business and I haven't got any problem with what we're doing at all right now. But when I go past that, I think this club are an embarrassment, honestly. In the way that we've handled transfers, I just think we're an absolute disgrace for the size of club we are, to be stuck in the position that we are. And the people that have run it have left us in an absolute mire. Arsenal going to go through this as well. Jesus, Havertz and co, all on crazy money. You've got to be careful. You've got to make sure that the right players are there. But, Compost Smurf, they're in the Champions League continuously. And that is your get out. That's when you can afford to make the odd mistake here and there. You cannot afford to do what Manchester United have done without having the backup of Champions League football. And having no European football at all this season. This is why United have to be absolutely on point and delicate to every minor detail of any transfer. This is why it's taking so long with the Brian Mbeumo situation. Gyokeres is not one of the best in the world. Sorry, not having that average in the Championship. And Darwin Núñez banged them in Portugal. Look, what we're saying here is like, who is the right player? People would say that Victor Osimhen banged them in Italy. So did Lukaku. We sold him because he couldn't handle it. People would say that he banged them in Turkey. Some would have that's not even one of the top 6 leagues in the bleeding country. In the world. So who is the right player? That is always going to be the debate. Right now for Manchester United, you've got a man that knows Ruben's system. And he is the best option out there left for us. That is how I think Manchester United see it. You can argue your own points across, like what Boxing has said there, and think that there might be somebody else better than Victor Gyokeres. There might be someone out there, but are you in a position at Manchester United right now to take a risk on that? Ruben isn't. He's got a year and a half left. Is it 2? No, he's got 2 years left. This is the situation. That's the problem. He hasn't got the time. And if Ruben wants to do something this season, he's going to go to the tried and trusted. Yes, and that obviously is a fear as well for United fans, and it should be after what happened with Ten Hag, bringing in players that he knew work well from a lesser league. And I see what Boxing says there. That's what Victor Gyokeres is in a way, isn't it? He's a player that has done it in one. Look, he was good in the Championship as well. Let's not forget that. He had a decent couple of seasons in the Championship. He might not have been fantastic, but finding his feet. And it's Ruben who spotted him from the Championship to take him away. And if he understands Ruben's system, to slot him in with the likes of Mbeumo and Cunha, I would rather have him there than Rasmus Højlund right now. I think Rasmus would learn a lot from Victor Gyokeres, by the way. I think he's very, very similar built, strong, tall, quick. He could learn a lot from playing with Victor Gyokeres. Are Arsenal owners worse than the Glazers? Pretty weird that they are taking time for Gyokeres. No, they're not the worst. Your Glazers are always going to be the worst owners. I will have that argument with anybody. Gyokeres played in Ruben's system, so he's already used to it. Darwin didn't do good in the Champions League, and Gyokeres got the physique to do well in the Premier League. Yeah, you could argue Gyokeres' record in the Champions League is something to hold up as well. That's a little bit extra on top. That you've got to say there. That is a bit extra on top with, well, it's something that other players haven't got on Gyokeres, I don't think. Apart from Osimhen. But then you're talking about exactly the same level of player. Leagues that you're not completely convinced in scoring goals in and doing well in the Champions League, except Gyokeres did Champions League, Osimhen did Europa League. So that is the difference between them two players. But the conversation on strikers will go on forever and a day. Some people would bring in Hugo Ekitike and take the younger player, who is the next thing on the scene, apparently. And you know what I'm going to say after that. Everybody knows what I'm going to say after that. But yeah, that is where Manchester United are actually at right now with Victor Gyokeres. It's a case of we're needing to move players on, yes, but that might help United. The opportunity and the door is open for United. Arsenal are buying Sesko. No one else is in for Victor Gyokeres right now where he would want to go. United have a chance. And nobody's going to buy Victor Gyokeres for the money that Sporting wants. And that is going to continue till the end of the window. I guarantee Gyokeres won't go anywhere until August. I don't think anyone's going to buy him there. I don't think anyway. He's got all of this shit to deal with Sporting. And he's still got to settle up with, I feel, his not so much demands, but what he wants from his next move. He has to come to terms with he might not get what he wants now because of what he's done. Like, clubs will look at that little episode between Sporting and Victor Gyokeres and go, that might not be the man for us. He could be a bit of a nightmare. That goes a long way. For someone to go on strike, you're really not selling yourself. That's what I will say anyway with this one. Orlando, thank you for that. There's no super chat in there, but thank you for the donation, mate. On to Jadon Sancho, and this is a crack at this. Sources in Turkey talking about the Fenerbahce approach. Now, it does look like Fenerbahce, we said this earlier on, are all in on John Duran now from El Nassr. And it looks like that's pushing forward. Jose Mourinho, though, in meetings, Jose sanctioned a call to check out the conditions for Jadon Sancho. That's what's been said by Turkey sources. So originally it was Jose had a call with Sancho. Nope, that didn't happen apparently. Even Romano said that there was no concrete interest. But this was an interesting one. Jadon Sancho was binned by Jose Mourinho because he's not professional. Quote unquote, Jose said, "I only want professionals." I think he nailed it in one. Now, that is a report coming from Turkey, and they have put quote marks in that article, so I'm just reading off that. That's what they have said, but it tickled me on that one. But on the serious note, on the serious side to Jadon Sancho, there has been more talk from the Italian side of things today that Jadon Sancho is edging closer to a move to Juventus. No. No, he's not. It's the same sort of story, but this time it is regarding what I said yesterday when I said Manchester United have contacted Juventus again to find out where they are at. So you could say that Man United are doing what Ruben wants. They're forcing the issue. They want answers from Juventus. Right now, Jadon Sancho has said yes to Juventus, but he said no to the wages, as we already know. But there is a confidence still that a compromise can be met. Now, don't count out Jadon Sancho going on loan and a part of the wages being paid by Manchester United, but a loan fee being accepted in front, with bonuses for Juventus finishing in a certain position. United have to be clever and creative with the Jadon Sancho situation. So the talks have continued between Juventus and Manchester United over the potential move for Jadon Sancho. And don't count out the loan and Manchester United accepting the loan. They want the easy deal, but they know that Jadon Sancho holds the cards. He could just say no, and he would cause a nightmare for Manchester United, and they know this. So if they're going to back their manager, the board, going off what Ruben has said and the environment he wants to build, and he doesn't want to deal with the ball ache of players that are going to be causing problems within the squad, then United acting on that would actually be loaning Jadon Sancho out and accepting that they're not going to get a fee for him. Not a big fee, but don't forget what we have done with Jadon Sancho before. We actually made a profit on the loan, a straightforward loan with no real fee at the start of it, from Borussia Dortmund because of where they actually finished. So if Juventus do qualify to go through into the knockout stages of the Champions League, for example, there could be a bonus for Manchester United in that. A certain amount of games played by Jadon Sancho, there's another bonus for Manchester United. This is what they were doing with Antony before, and they cashed in on Antony completely. So if Juventus are willing to pay a massive chunk of Jadon Sancho's wages, like maybe what Chelsea did, it's still going to cost Manchester United, sadly. But this is the reality. It's a player that needs to be gone from United's squad. Can they make enough in that to potentially bring another player in? Yes, they can, because you could get a loan fee. And by the way, on top of this, we still haven't cashed in yet on Alvaro Fernandez Carreras from Real Madrid, which isn't happening until after the Club World Cup. So there's some extra money there. If Newcastle do go all in on Anthony Elanga, United will cash in there on Anthony Elanga's sell-on as well. Nobody knows what that sell-on is for Anthony Elanga yet. It hasn't been documented or said or mentioned, and I've not seen anybody come out with the real figure for it. You can only use what's been said before regarding the sell-ons that Manchester United have put into players like Alvaro and like, obviously, Mason Greenwood, for example. They're the types of players that you could look at and gauge and guess, but there's no definite for Elanga. So, when I say Jadon Sancho would free up approximately 25 to 30 million for Manchester United if he was sold outright, that's clearing his wages, clearing his instalments. Manchester United might be able to free up 10 million's worth of financial fair play PSR money if we loan him out. It's not what we want, but could that get United a midfielder? Could that get us João Palhinha? You bet your ass it could. And that's a key position for Manchester United. And then you start to move on to the next one. Antony will go on a permanent. Manchester United have made that very clear because Antony's willing to compromise. That's when you go and get your striker. So where I said before, Sancho leaving brings you Gyokeres. Maybe the Sancho situation isn't the key to Gyokeres yet, and we've got time, like I explained, to wait for Gyokeres until the end of the window, and that might benefit United then going forward. So, when you look at Antony's sale, that, if United get the fee that they want, will definitely give United the room financially to go out and get Victor Gyokeres. Because let's not forget, Gyokeres is probably going to want similar money to what Antony is on. Fair enough, same as what it is now, and what United are banking for. But that transfer fee isn't going to be as high as it was for Antony. And that's where United save money. United could actually get Victor Gyokeres in at the football club for less than 20 million this PSR year, if they play their cards right. That's how important just getting players off the book are for United. It might not get you a lot, but it could get you something. It could get you another loan deal to bring a midfielder in. Or it could get you another goalkeeper on loan or something like that. Or a striker at last-ditch desperation stages. Loans are just as important. They don't get you as much money in for the club, but they definitely free up the space that's necessary to start improving. I think that's what we have to look at here in this. It's just a bit of a reality check when it comes to it. That's all it is. Let's get some more comments on this actually now, because I can see a few people giving some actual, there's people wanting to know about quite a lot actually. Alanga leaving Forest will give us more cash. Yes, Stephanie, I mentioned that with that sell-on clause. You were right on that one. Glad you said that. Oh, someone's talking to someone else. Make Juventus pay 150 of the wages to cover the rest. We want 10k loan fee, a 10 million loan fee, I think you meant there. Fee plus what you said, Adam, as in bonuses. Yeah, that's it. You have to be creative. And United have done this before. So I'm only talking about it because there's a history of it. And United have done it. They did it with Antony, they did it with Rashford. Somehow they managed to get their majority of their wages off the book. And it saved United a hell of a lot of money last season, which is why we were able to go out and buy, in this financial year, Matheus Cunha. We could have bought Ryan Mbeumo. That's going to go into July now because of the recent delay. By the way, I've not seen anything else come out on the Mbeumo side of things. There is a rumour going around on social media at the moment, like something might be dropping on Bryan Mbeumo tonight. I don't know. I'm not going to get sucked in by it. We'll see if that develops. But nothing that I can see just yet. In fact, let me just have a quick scout to make sure. Nicolas Shearer, by the way, is reporting the Antony news about the talks opening up again between United and Betis. Permanent move discussions are well and truly on with that one. So it's going to be a very interesting one when it comes to what that deal is going to be. Betis are quite busy in the transfer market at the moment. Very busy in the transfer market. And what we're saying here is that they are trying to, from what their CEO said, be very creative, like they have been before, and doing everything in their power to bring Antony in. I think, like I've said this before, once July 1st hits, we'll start to see all of the other clubs that might have had a potential interest in Antony come to the fore. We might see this. We might see this. And you know what? On the, I'm going to be talking about the Jamie Gittins situation on Football Talks. Actually, I've been talking about Mark Gahey to Liverpool, which is scary over there as well. Go and give it a go. It's. I think when you look at it again, the only reason this affects Manchester United is because of the Garnacho situation. I do feel like this is going to be a concern for Garnacho, because Garnacho, I said this yesterday, quiet, very quiet at the moment. Not much to talk. There's more talk about Marcus Rashford than there is for Garnacho right now. But Gittins going to Chelsea, and that's a done deal now, by the way. Romano will just give it the here we go. I'll go over all the details on Football Talks later. If you haven't already subscribed to my other channel, Football Talks, where I talk about all the other Premier League action, then please do so. The link is in the description, everybody. Don't forget as well, in the description is the link to the shirts that I get as well. Go check out that website, everybody. That is there. I'll just pop that one actually in the live chat right now. Why is that? For God's sake. My mouse wasn't working again, sorry, but it's there now. That's in the live chat as well. If you want shirts like this, 15 quidders. Go get your retros, everybody. Just checking out on anything else that is coming. Jesus, Chelsea moved fast with that one. How is it that Chelsea get a medical in one night? Anyway, no Garnacho for Chelsea. That's how important that is. But like I said, very, very quiet on the Garnacho side of things at the moment, which I would say is a little concerning. Very concerning, because he could be the key in terms of finances for Manchester United to make something really big happen. And that, I think, is a bit disappointing. Like, we cannot afford to loan all of them back out again. Honestly, there's a scenario where Garnacho goes on loan, Rashford and Sancho go on loan, and Antony's the only one that ended up getting the permanent deal because someone actually wants to commit to Antony. Who'd have thought you'd have had all of that talent in Garnacho, Sancho and Marcus Rashford all being loaned out because nobody wants to commit and buy them? And Antony, the villain of the piece, the one that was labelled one of the worst transfers in Manchester United's history, is the one who fetches Manchester United money this summer. Oh, football works in a weird way, doesn't it, sometimes? But don't count that scenario out. Scenario happening as well. Don't count that out, because that could easily happen. What date do you reckon Mbeumo will sign? I reckon not before the 10th. I think it will be before the 10th. I said this before. I said it on the morning show. that you've got a situation with Brentford. They've just lost the manager. They've just lost the captain. They're about to lose their star striker, leading goal scorer. And they need to reinvest that money and start bringing other players back in. They need this transfer to happen just like Manchester United so they can start planning. At the moment, they're going into pre-season completely depleted. And hardly anyone coming in the other way of any quality in comparison to Norgard and Brian Mbeumo. Even the manager, you could say as well, not convinced by that one. It's a good bet next season that Brentford struggle. Good money, I think, on that one. I reckon Brian Mbeumo signs for United next week, by the way. My honest prediction on that. Yeah, 15 quid. Ross with a super chat says, what are Forest doing? They need to add to their squad to play in Europe. Only rumour I hear is Newcastle trying to poach one of their players. Could they get Garnacho? That is a hope. That is a hope. There has been some sounding out regarding Garnacho and Newcastle, Ross. So maybe, but they're more interested in Rashford if that falls through with Barcelona. Nothing extra on Marcus Rashford, by the way, everybody, as well. Just so you're completely up to date with everything there. Also, by the way, almost 500 live likes. Saturday evening, mega. Absolutely love you all. Fantastic audience. Thank you for all the likes. If you haven't already and you're loving the content, pop a thumbs up on it. Thank you, everyone. It's free. It helps the channel out more than you know. And even more so if you hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. And it is big for the channel, everybody. We are growing and we're growing fast. And I'm absolutely loving the journey that we're all on together. So if you haven't already as well, hit the subscribe button, please, everyone. And let's get to that 90k mark before the start of the season. That's what we want. We're closing in. Absolutely closing in. Just creeping up to around about 2,000 to go, near enough now. Nearly at 88,000. I think we should get that this weekend, 88k, which would be absolutely mental. It really would. But yeah, keep it up, everyone. You're doing an amazing job on that side of things as well. Let's get some more comments in here. Players meet up next week for pre-season. It's actually Monday, a week on Monday, that the players meet up again. So that's going to be interesting. But Garnacho, Rashford and Sancho report to the cliff for hellish triple sessions to keep them fit. Hopefully, yeah. And do you know what people always say, don't they? Let them train with the reserves. Let them train with the kids. Worst thing you could ever do. Why would you want the future of this football club training with the nightmare that they have been? Never. Don't do it. Also in the chat, everybody, is our match bingo link. Our match sponsors. If you are watching that Chelsea game against Benfica tonight, add some fun to it. I'll give you some more details at the end of the show on match bingo. That's the QR code on your screen right there, everybody. Go check that out as well. I'll give you the details as we finish with that one. But yes, that's where we're at right now. I'm just going to check on everything else. Congratulations to Darren Fletcher, it would seem. Now about to take the head coach role for Manchester United's under-18s. And yes, he will have both of his sons, Tyler and Jack, playing underneath him. Weird scenario, but yes, it does look real. Laurie Whitwell came out of it before. Sully actually was the first one to actually break that news earlier on, that Darren Fletcher is in line for the under-18s job. So congratulations to him. Would anybody here in the room be interested in a Ter Stegen free transfer as Manchester United's goalkeeping option? There is a story developing. It's a weird one, this. I wanted to just bring this in at the end of the show to gauge some opinion on it, just to see where you're actually at. What would you say to Ter Stegen as a free transfer? You got to go with that, don't you? So Barcelona have obviously bought in Juan Garcia. They're going to renew Szczesny's contract, and that makes Ter Stegen somehow, who has been there since 2014, their third choice goalkeeper. Now he's at the moment negotiating, buying that contract out, wanting Barcelona to pay this out, and Barcelona are negotiating with him. He's got a big contract, but they are looking to cancel it. If United have got anything about them and they're looking to save money and take a better goalkeeper who could probably work alongside Onana for now, a worst case scenario, that might not be a bad shout. Good keeper. Yes, he's had a couple of big injuries, but you know what I mean? Like, if you're looking for a bargain, then maybe. I don't know. That was a story that's going around that I just thought, you know what, let's just see where everyone's at with that one. That could be something that happens. And that's, I think, is definitely one to keep an eye on, because it's actually happening. Like, the negotiations are actually going on for that one. Yeah, again, just to go over everything from the top of the show that we said in watching what is happening right now. Arsenal are in for Sesko, and it looks like they're getting closer to that deal happening, leaving Gyokeres with nothing. Manchester United willing to play the long game throughout the summer to see Gyokeres and the opportunity of him coming to Manchester United become more of a chance. And that, I think, is when United will pounce. I've said I don't think Gyokeres moves in this window until August. That is my prediction on him. I think that's where we're at right now with Victor Gyokeres anyway. But let's see how that develops. Jose doesn't want Sancho, but there is thought in Juventus that a compromise and a creative deal could happen for Jadon Sancho. There has been some rumours floating around that something tonight might break on Bryan Mbeumo. Stay tuned for that one. I will be live, or I will be doing something if something does update on Bryan Mbeumo. Just a rumour at the moment, and it's only on social media, but let's see if that develops. It may even come about late on, and we're talking about it at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. So let's see if that does develop also. But for now, everybody, that is our show. Thank you so much, mods, for doing a fantastic job in there. Quickly, before I end up leaving us, I did promise you... sorry, just checking something out there. Yeah, right, got it. I did say that I was going to bring you up to date with the setup with Match Bingo. And again, yes, please, our match day sponsors, Match Bingo. The Women's Euros is starting this week as well, everybody. The Club World Cup is in full action. Get involved in our sponsor here, Match Bingo, please, everybody. A brilliant app. You can download it off the QR code or click on the link in the description and in the live chat right now pinned up there. It's just like playing bingo with football. That's it. From getting a throw-in to a goal, getting a line, winning cash, 25 quid a line, and then jackpotting it at just over 200 quid. You are missing out if you haven't downloaded this already. Trust me, it adds so much fun and intrigue to the game. It's like playing a weird fancy football. That's what it is. But it's like going back to the old school on the beachfront with the old bingo halls, waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for your number to come in, but then you're waiting instead for a throw-in to happen in a certain minute or a yellow card to happen in a certain minute. It's all there. All you have to do is download the app, deposit £5, and the special right now is your money will be doubled automatically as a new customer. You have to be 18 and above and a UK resident to actually play. Sorry about that if you're in a different country. Those are the rules. And you can, if you buy 4 cards now, get an extra one free on top. Click on that link in the live chat now, everybody. Download the app. That's my link there, and all of them discounts will be added to your game and will stay in your game as well, i.e. the extra card whenever you buy 4 as well. But new customers get their money doubled if they just deposit £5. That is it. Simple, really good game, and it definitely adds a little bit more excitement to the football match. Because I said before that they haven't been really exciting, have they? But yeah, that is our show all finished, everybody. Again, thank you everyone for being part of it. Absolutely brilliant show as always. Loads of information. I will be keeping you up to date with everything that is going on in and around United if there is any more news tonight. But apart from that, go and check out Football Talks. A couple of videos on there today as well with events happening elsewhere in the Premier League. Try not to get too upset by them because it's our rivals making business happen. You know what I mean by that. But for now, everyone, thank you. I will see you all in the morning at 8 o'clock.